right now in the US, our birth rate is at 1.62 babies per woman. The replacement rate needs to be at 2.1 babies per woman. So we're not even meeting the minimum in order to see a healthy, thriving, sustaining country. And you look at, South Korea, and it's at 0.72, I believe, the fertility rate.
Because, and for people that are listening and watching, like, Matt, what are you doing talking about diapers? It's really important to me, actually. But more importantly, is that a lot of people that watch the show know that I was born in the United States, I live here, my daughter was born here, etc. But my family came from Korea. And we go back because my wife's family is still there. We go back every single year. My wife goes every year. I go every other year. And my Korean culture and heritage is really important to me. And one of the saddest things I see, and things that we talk about actually a lot on this channel, is the fact that the birth rate in Korea is the lowest in the world. And it's really sad to me. I've even heard of stories of elementary schools closing because there are not enough new young children to fill those schools. And I was in Korea last time, and I'm taking my daughter to kind of the markets, and the grandmothers are crying when they meet her because there's so few children that they're just surprised that we're taking them out there. And the one thing they always say to me is, not only is she lucky, but she's so lucky to be born and raised and grown up in America. And every time I think about that, I'm so like, it really hurts because that's where my family is from. We've been Korean for, thousands of years. And to think that at this rate of where it's going, maybe in 50 years, 100 years, like the country and the people may not exist. And you guys are going to launch Every Life Korea. And when I heard that, I was like, I really want Sarah Gable on the show. Because I love that. I really appreciate that. I really do. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got going on over there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are expanding our brand formally to South Korea. And I just want to start, Matt, with saying that the people in South Korea are so wonderful and so beautiful. And I love how the nation strives for excellence in everything that they do. There's so many things about the culture, all of the heart for respect of people and property and going above and beyond, again, to do things with such high standards is worth noting. The reality, though, is that so many today have actually put career and those items of what they classify as success as a reason to deprioritize family. And the most important thing that one could ever embark upon is having a child, is getting married and spending the rest of your life with your loved one, with a family that you get to nurture and grow. And it saddens me as well to see that this nation could be so prosperous and have such a grand future, but yet they're putting their attention and time in the wrong places. And so we feel, again, an obligation, and there's been an open door with strategic partnerships with Yoido Full Gospel, which is one of the largest churches in the world that want to partner with us, and many influential partners and strategic businesses that want to help us be successful in South Korea. And the reason that we caught wind in South Korea was really because of our Make More Babies campaign that we actually did in the US. We blew up a billboard in Times Square in January last year that said "Make More Babies." It was based off of a tweet that Elon said that children are saving the world, and they're how we save the world. And we agree with that at Every Life. And this thing went viral and caught wind not only here in the States, but again, it went worldwide. And so this message that we're bringing to Korea and our product, it's not just about diapers and bringing that incredible product to the families there. It is about shifting culture and a narrative that seems to be so thick in the United States and beyond, specifically in South Korea, that children are going to get in the way of success, that they're going to rob you and steal you of your accomplishments, your goals, and your dreams and your desires. And we feel so strongly, again, that strong families build a strong nation. And so that's what we're actually going to be bringing to South Korea. And I hope and pray that this touches the hearts and minds of the people there, because as you just mentioned, children are a gem there. People walk around and when they see one, they light up because that's just what children do. They make our world so special and full of life and full of light. And you can't not smile when you see an adorable child walking around and laughing. And the childlike faith of a child is contagious. And so we want to see more of that. So we're actually going to have a massive billboard at launch in the middle of Seoul that says make more babies
Hmm.
because we know that's going to catch wind. People are going to talk about that and say, wow, never seen this before. What brand is sending a message like this? They'll see it's every life. And I'm really excited that we get to provide them with a premium product and a message that, again, I hope and pray resonates with their hearts and minds.
Just a quick break before this video continues. If you haven't signed up for Soju yet, go check it out, soj.oo. It's a social discussion platform that we've created. That's where the community is hanging out. Definitely worth checking out, soj.oo. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, do it now. Yeah, Korea is really interesting. I remember last time I was there and we went to like one of these big malls. And in the big mall, they have such a premium on children because there just aren't that many. So their strollers are available. They're like really high end and strollers for every kid and they're for free. Every grocery store or department store you go to, the baby kind of changing places. Like in America, if you go to a baby changing place in a family bathroom, it's like this weird fold-out table, plastic fold-out table, right? But there, they have like actual stalls where you can wash them, you can change them. I mean, it's so much more elaborate than they do here now because, again, there is such a premium on the few that there are. Hopefully, well, because of that, I think your business will do very well because people are really looking for premium products. But hopefully, more than that, is that through your messaging, that you incentivize families to have it. Because again, I mean, people say having a kid is expensive, and it's not cheap, but it's not change your life expensive. It really isn't. You know, like you can do things the right way and have children if you choose to do so. I think a lot of people are scared to make the small sacrifices that are required in life in order to support a family. I want to have all the partying, and I want to have all the fun, and I want to do all the shopping, and I want to do all these things, I want to do all these vacations, but you know, kids are kind of expensive. You know? How do you think we go back to getting people to realize that family is even more important than maybe this auxiliary that we put into our lives?
I do think it takes a cultural shift, Matt, and it takes a lot of different hearts and minds and companies and brands and every force that we can coming together to create a countercultural message to make parenthood celebratory again, to make it something that we're not actually trying to solve. And that's the sad part is we shouldn't be trying to solve right now. How do we get people to become parents? That's a really sad state that we're in the United States and the world. It really should be something, again, that is just celebrated, that it's a reward, that it's seen as a blessing. There's still some really great, actually, states here in the U.S. that are so celebratory of parenthood. I'm actually from Alabama, the South originally, and I know you're in the Southern area as well. And I'm actually vacationing right now with my family. I say vacationing, but I'm trying to get some family time in before we go on our big travels. And, you know, I'm looking around and I'm in Destin, Florida, and this is vacation central for families. And I'm seeing all these big families, right? Like moms and dads and multiple kids. They're running around on the beach. I mean, literally everywhere you look, you're seeing smiling, happy children, multiple children per family. And that's normal here. It actually would be really odd to not see that in a location like Florida. And I started to think about what I'm about to embark upon in South Korea. And I'm going to be walking around and I'm not going to be seeing the same picture. And that's really, really saddening to me. And so what has to happen is a normalization of the beauty of life, the beauty of parenthood. And I'm really excited that we get to be a brand that tries to make that dent, because I know the government is trying really hard in South Korea to bring incentive to families to have children. They're trying to do what they can. And it's not working. All these different parties and forces are coming together. But I really actually believe it's going to be companies like ours. It's going to be God's people, the churches that we're partnering with, that start to make a dent and start to make a change there. And I'm really optimistic about what could happen, but it's going to take a lot of work. And it does kind of make me pause and think, man, I wish the US would pay more attention actually to what's happening in South Korea. Because it actually, to me, is a warning sign of where we could actually be in about 20 years. If we do not stop and pause and say, what are we focusing on? How do I stop looking so much about myself and think about others, think about a generation beyond my time? It would change everything. At the root of it, it's actually selfishness that I think so many people are not stepping in to accepting the beauty of marriage and creating a family unit together that's strong and healthy. And if we can begin to realize how important that is, that you're actually going to become better, stronger, and and more equipped in all the different spaces that you go as a parent. And you would probably say that, Matt. I'm sure after stepping into fatherhood, you're a stronger person, you're a better person, you're kinder, you're more compassionate. You see the world completely differently when you step into parenthood. And honestly, that's been my experience. I love being a mom more than anything else in the whole world. And the one thing that can't actually be replaced, Matt, is me being a mom. My
Mm.
job can be replaced any second, at any moment. But what can't be replaced is me being a parent and me being a mom to my little daughter, Lily Gable, and my soon to be next daughter on the way. And that is the greatest privilege. And I think the more that people can realize the honor of that, there's no telling what's in store for the US and beyond. And I hope and pray that that message really resonates.
Yeah, I think there's two really interesting things in there. One is that you said that we need here in the United States, you have to be aware of what's going on in Korea because that could be us here in 20 years. And I agree 100%. The way that Korea is and the way their technology is that we get similar technologies and cultural shifts and different types of inputs. I mean, similar types of inputs in Korea as we do here. But their population in Korea is so much more condensed in a small area that you get to see the effects of that much quicker. In the United States, we're blessed with unlimited land, essentially unlimited land. So it takes a while to see the effects of things like technology and consumerism and social media and all these things that we're slowly starting to see the effects of. They got to see that really ramped up in a really short period of time. And if you see that we have the same access to the same information, same technology, same consumerism, same social media, and you see that they're going down this trend of having less children and less family, it's inevitable that it happens here. So we should very much be paying attention to what's going on there. Because again, if it's happening there, it will happen here. You have to learn from there.
100%. And what's really interesting to me is the more that I've gotten to know the Korean culture and working even with our team there on the ground, you know, they really do love America and they're very, very influenced by American politics and culture. And you even think about the 4B movement, right, that they had there and still pretty active, full of feminists, right, that are basically refusing marriage, refusing sex, refusing to have children. And it's really sad to see that those are the movements that are getting wind, that are causing traction, that are causing eyeballs to look and say, man, there's a strong group out in Korea that really do not want to prioritize having children and getting married. And that is being influenced, I believe, by a lot of the things happening here in the United States and vice versa. Because the moment this 4B movement started in South Korea, you actually saw the ripple effect of that starting to actually happen here in the United States. Now, it didn't get as large and it was a little bit more contained, but it still was happening. And so to the point that I was saying, and now you're sharing, there is so much influence and we can't just stay in our little bubble and stay isolated and the things happening in our little world. We need to pop the bubble. We need to stop and assess. I think one of my favorite quotes is from Socrates. He said, "A life not evaluated is a life not worth living." And I believe that because if we just roll through the motions of life, we get complacent, we get comfortable, that's a really scary place to be in. And I think for a long time, Americans have just been sitting really comfortable in the environments that they're in. But it's time to burst the bubble and realize that we have a serious crisis at hand, and it has to do with population issues. And the fact that we are not repopulating the earth right now the way that it needs to. Right now in the US, our birth rate is at 1.62 babies per woman. The replacement rate needs to be at 2.1 babies per woman. So we're not even meeting the minimum in order to see a healthy, thriving, sustaining country. And you look at, you know, South Korea and it's at 0.72, I believe, the fertility rate. And that's heartbreaking. And so we really need to pause, assess and evaluate and start prioritizing the things that are actually going to make our country stronger and better.
Yeah, I mean, it's 0.72. I believe actually in Seoul, it's something like 0.55. And then when you take rural Korea, it's higher than that zero point 0.7, which is why you get that zero point 0.7 average. So inside Seoul, which is the metropolis within Korea, the biggest one of the biggest cities in the world, it's like 0.55. I don't even know if you can recover from that, actually. But a lot of people are trying to solve that problem. Their government has been throwing money at it. Hey, if you have a kid, take extra maternity leave, and here's $10,000 or whatever it is. It doesn't work. Throwing money at this problem doesn't solve the problem, which means that it's not a money issue. It's a cultural issue. Because again, they've tried throwing unlimited money at this problem and it solved nothing. Thanks for watching the clip. If you want to see the full episode, click here. If you want to see more clips, click here.